New report shows that more than half of LGBTQ plus Florida parents say they are considering leaving the state. More than half of LGBTQ plus parents in Florida are considering moving their families to another state over concerns that a new Florida education law, known of course by its critics as the Don't Say Gay law, stigmatizes LGBTQ plus identities and creates a hostile learning environment for LGBTQ plus children or students with LGBTQ plus family members. In the report that was issued by Williams Institute at UCLA, a public policy research institute that is based at the UCLA College of Law and the Clark University in Massachusetts, 56% of LGBTQ plus parents surveyed said they were considering leaving Florida over their concerns about how the new law may impact their children and family. Another 17% said they had already taken steps to do so. The new law, officially titled the Parental Rights in Education Law, bars public education or public kindergarten through third grade teachers in public education from engaging in classroom instruction related to sexual orientation and gender identity. Subjects the measure's proponents in the state legislature last year argued are inappropriate for young students. This study is shocking but completely understandable. The most important number, in my opinion, in the Williams Institute, and by the way, if you're not as an LGBT advocate following with the Williams Institute at UCLA College of Law, they are among the best academic researchers in America for LGBT issues, is that 17% of LGBT families in Florida are already working on actual plans to leave. Yeah. That's significant. 56% said they're thinking about it. 17% are already active in those plans. The other thing that I think is very distressing on the Williams report is Governor DeSantis could, if he was hearing our story tonight, and he's an avid fan.
Oh, yeah, I bet. I heard. He watches every night.
Every night he watches on Roku or Apple television. The sad thing in the issue is if he was watching this report, he would go, yeah, so? Yeah, right. Just as flat as that. Yeah. He absolutely would have no concern at all, because the goal here and the goal on drag queens and the goal on woke, stop woke, and all of these related goals are first to get him elected president of the United States by creating a culture war. And as a result, he has made his plans. He's set his plans in cement, which is, I think this is the best way to do it. And so therefore, I'm going to push you back into the closet. Now, you might be able to live in the closet, but we don't want to acknowledge or know that you're living in the closet. Yeah. And as a result, the 17% number, the 56% number, Governor Ron DeSantis very likely would say, yeah, so?
Wow. Yeah, there's lots of feelings of like Handmaid's Tale coming from Tallahassee. And I think of all politicians right now, Ron DeSantis is the most dangerous. Because
and Donald Trump lives 38 miles from us.
Right, exactly. Right? Yeah, but no, seriously, because you know, he is as far right, maybe even farther right than Trump.
Yeah. And he's smarter than Trump. Say it. He's smarter than I hate to say that, but it's the truth. That Harvard education will come in handy when he's trying to squish our faces into the unknown.
He went to Harvard?
He did.
Yeah, and you know,
Harvard Community College. I don't know if y'all heard.
Harvard Tech.
He can string a whole paragraph together. You know, and
look, when I read about the study, I wasn't surprised. I'm not a parent, right? But you know, Teresa's always joking about how we're going to probably have to move to Spain and work from there because things are getting so bad, right? And I'm glad that her kids are in their 20s, so it's not a thing. But I have a niece who's 14 years old that I was just with in Jersey, and I'm like, thank God you guys don't live down here. I mean, here's the reality. A LGBTQ plus kid cannot get a good education while he's being bullied and being made fun of and being a target in a school. He just can't. So if the parent sees that, they're going to want to get the kid a good education and leave this freaking state. Right. We're overpopulated anyway. Leave.
Right.
Yeah, I would encourage the families that are thinking about moving, please reconsider and please stay. Yeah. We fought too long and too hard. We've essentially
I'm
had
gonna push
one
back on that a
generation.
little bit.
We've had one generation. Okay, you can let me finish then. But we've had one generation essentially of students that kind of grew up where it wasn't a thing, and now we're being pushed back in. Florida went as red as it's going to get in this last election, which means, yay, it's only going to get better. But we also have to look, and families of trans kids, I can understand leaving because they're being barred medical access.
Yep.
And I say, yes, go somewhere where you can get the affirming care that you need until you're 18 or 21 or whatever they do. But please stay. We have to keep fighting, because if we just abandon this beautiful place that we have, this beautiful community that we've created, then they really do win, and that makes my skin crawl.
And on top of that is also keep voting, because if you leave the state, you're not going to vote.
We lose your vote too.
We lose you. More importantly, you got to vote here if you want things to change. I will understand, just being on the other side, if you were the parent of an LGBT child, and how bad it is, growing up gay and being bullied, that your child will go through the same thing. So you will probably think that way. But yeah, you're right. If you don't stay and you don't vote, people like him keep getting reelected.
Yeah, well, like I said, I wanted to push back on this because children are only children once. And, the scars that children receive that last the longest are the ones when they are young. So if you're the child of gay parents, those scars are going to forever affect you. And I would not want to raise a child in an environment that's like that. So I do understand why those parents want to go to a place where they don't have to complain to the principal that their child came home after getting beat up again and nobody's doing anything about it. Or, they're shut down when they ask questions. I wouldn't want to have to fight that for my child. I would want my child to be able to
the
be in a secure
conversation
place.
is a good one. I didn't really think about this story in this way in terms of whether you succumb to the bullying and the hate. This is hate. We're watching hate.
Absolutely.
I'm torn on this because you really make an appeal that makes me think about if I had a child. Oh, thank God I don't. If I did, would I raise this child in Florida? And I have to tend to agree. I probably would conclude I would not.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think about John's point because at the worst of this, Dr. Julio Capo has helped us all understand this repeats. It goes in cycles. We've seen this in Florida, and he's given us historical examples of that. And of course, the most clear is Anita Bryant. Yeah. And Anita Bryant was doing this not to the power of this, but this is what Anita Bryant's intent was. And it wasn't until we pushed the pie in the face that we bring her to a stop. But then I think about, I've talked about the Anthony Fauci interview. He talks so much about Larry Kramer, and my interview with Fauci and talking about Larry Kramer has radicalized me. I know that there's this radical intent beginning to bubble up in that ACT UP was really important at the time it was going on because there was no choice. No one was paying attention to AIDS. No one was paying attention to the gay community. So many people were dying left and right, and it was a clinical approach of get back into the closet. And ACT UP was so vitally important, and that's the controversy here. Do we fight or do we move? There's good arguments on both sides. Good arguments.
So, did you enjoy the show? I know you did. So make sure to click subscribe so you won't miss any of the events, news, or interviews right here on the Faye What Show. Ring the bell at the bottom of the screen, right there, so you'll be alerted every time we're live. You can also click on the Happening Out Television Network logo so you can see all of the shows on the most diverse LGBTQ plus media network. Find out just what we're doing to bring the L and the G together right here on the Faye What Show. Get the week started with me.